Because when we can change the way that we see the world, we're changing our reality. And this is why NLP is like one of the most powerful tools that I use to manifest, because I know that whatever is coming in at me, I'm only consciously aware of 126 bits of that information. So if I can change my perspective to see a different 126 bits of information out of that 2.3 million bits of information, I'm going to see something in a different way. And as I see it in a different way, that's going to change what I believe about myself. Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching Certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Kelly, can you handle this? Michelle, can you handle this? Beyonce, can you handle this? I don't think they can handle this. Woo! Okay. My song for the day. I'm excited because I get to talk about one of my favorite topics ever, which is neuro-linguistic programming. Don't get lost in those words. I'm going to break them down for you. But this episode is understanding NLP in less than 30 minutes. And I'm going to break down this beautiful process that we teach inside of QCA. There's so much to it, but I'm going to break it down really, really, really simple so that it's super understandable what NLP is, how you can use it with your clients, how you can use it in your life to get more of what you want. It really is one of my huge manifestation secrets. Like, it's what I use to manifest with all of the time. And I'll share with you why as we go through this episode. I'm so excited. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's break this down. What is NLP? What is neuro-linguistic programming? Well, neuro-linguistic programming is a pseudoscientific approach to communication, personal development, and psychotherapy. And it was created by a man named Richard Bandler and a man named John Grinder in California. And basically, they claim, these creators, that there's a connection between neurological processes, our language, linguistic, and behavioral patterns learned through experience, programming, that can be changed to achieve a specific goal or result in life. And they created these techniques that are in this body of work of neuro-linguistic programming off of modeling really, really successful therapists who were getting amazing results with their clients. And they worked with their clients in different ways. And basically they analyzed these therapists and what was working for them and working for their clients. And they modeled off of them and came up with these beautiful techniques that we call NLP. And so inside of the body of work of NLP, we learn about some of these techniques of these therapists that they were using and how they were getting the results that they were getting with their clients. So let's break it down even further. Let's talk about neuro, our mind and our senses of how we experience the world, right? So how we experience the world is through what we see, right? Or what we see visually, kinesthetically, external feelings, but also what we feel inside as well. But it can be like the touch of something, the pressure, the texture of something, as well as like that internal, like warm and fuzzy feeling or whatever the feeling is. Auditory, right? Sounds, the words that we hear, the way that people say those words to us. Gustatory, taste, right? We take in the world through what we taste. And what we smell. Olfactory is what we smell. And so this is under neuro, right? This is how we're taking in the world through our senses. And then we have linguistic, the language of our minds that we use to color our life and give it meaning. So once we're taking in the world, we're seeing pictures, we're hearing sounds, we're tasting things, we're making things mean things. We have a language in our mind that breaks it down. We have this internal dialogue, we have beliefs, we have all of that going on. And then there's programming, neuro-linguistic programming, which is the behavioral patterns of our mind that we use to move us closer or further away from our goals. So basically, neuro-linguistic programming, as I said, is a model in which we can use to help reprogram our minds at the subconscious level to help us reach our potential through a trail of techniques that are known as NLP. And it really does allow us to understand and shift at the subconscious level, which is what we really want to go for, because at the subconscious level, we're really working with our identity. And so basically what happens when the world is coming in at us through our senses, through what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, what we feel, we're actually taking in at a subconscious level 2.3 million bits of information per second. That's a lot of information. And as that information is going in, we're doing three things with that information. We're deleting information we don't need. We are distorting information, or we're generalizing information. We're putting it in three different buckets. And at the same time, as we're able to do that, all that information is doing that based on what time it is, where you are, what location you're in, what mood you're in, what meta program you're running, what language you speak, what memories you have, what decisions you've made, what beliefs you hold, your values, and your identity, who you believe yourself to be at the root. And as all of life is coming in at us, right, we're seeing it, we're perceiving it, it's going through all these filters, as I just said. It's creating this internal representation, which is a picture in our mind. And IR is a picture in your mind. And that picture in your mind, whether you think that you are a visual person or not, we're always seeing pictures in our mind. They're just moving so fast that sometimes we can't actually see them. But that picture in our mind is doing something. It's creating our state of being, okay? It's creating our state of being. It's creating how we feel. It's creating how we feel, which is then creating how we carry ourselves, our physiology, which is then creating the behavior that we take or don't take, right? It's either moving us forward or not moving us forward, which is then giving us our results. And so people go in circles and create these patterns in their life where they're getting the same results over and over and over again, or no results over and over and over again. And they're wondering why they aren't changing. And you know why most people don't change? Because most people are only trying to change at the behavioral level. They're only trying to change their behavior, which leaves out their identity, their values, their beliefs, their decisions, their memories, their language. Like, it leaves out all these internal filters that really are the ones that are interpreting the world around us. And if we can see the world the way that we interpret the world differently, it's going to give us a different state of being. And when we have a different state of being, we have a different way of carrying ourselves. We have a different vibration. We have a different energy. We have then a different behavior, and then we get a different result. Are you with me? Because here's the thing. Out of that 2.3 million bits of information that are coming in at us, we're only consciously aware of 126 bits of it. So consider that 126 bits of information as your perception of reality. Okay? So how can you change your perception of reality? How can you change your perception of lack, for example? Right? You're seeing the world around you. Let's just say you're looking at a bill, and your 126 bits right now is focused just like on this bill that you have to pay. And it's going through all these programs in your mind. It's going through where you are, what you're doing, how you're feeling in that your mood in that moment. It's going through your language. It's going through your decisions. It's going through all your generational beliefs. It's going through what you value, and it's going through who you believe you are. All in that moment as you're looking at that bill. and you look at that bill and you say to yourself, oh, I'm never going to get where I want to be. Boom, picture in your mind. Then what does that feel like? The state then reflects the picture. And then how are you carrying yourself? You're carrying yourself in the energy of lack. Then you're going to take behaviors that are going to continue to keep yourself in that spot. And then you're going to keep getting the same result over and over and over again. Now, the reason why, as I said, people get the same result is because they're only working at the behavioral level. But what if you had a series of tools, NLP, that you could help people shift at the identity level, okay? Which is like the deepest part of yourself, of who they believe themselves to be. So basically what we have in NLP are tools and techniques to help us transform the picture in our mind, literally transform the picture in our mind to make it so that you can't even see that picture anymore. Because if we can shrink the picture down and make it disappear and create a brand new picture of our ideal reality, of our ideal abundance, of our ideal relationship, of whatever it is, our ideal business, if we can change that picture in our minds, what do you think will happen? How do you think that ripples into your state, your physiology, your behavior results? But the only way you can change that picture in your mind is if you change all those filters that are creating those pictures. And that is what the trail of techniques of NLP does. It changes the pictures because we're changing the filters. And so the deepest way to create change with your clients or with yourself is to be able to create it at the identity level, to be able to have a shift at the subconscious identity level of who you believe yourself to be. This is where the magic happens. This is where it all happens. And the way that NLP weaves into this identity is through there's so many techniques that are in NLP, but a lot of it has to do with the way in which you learn how to speak to the subconscious mind. So as a coach and facilitator of these processes, one of the foundations is learning how to speak to the unconscious mind with hypnotic language patterns. And there's a lot of, I'm going to do another episode on breaking down hypnotherapy and hypnosis and like the myths around it, but there's a lot of myths around hypnotherapy. It's not something that you're like totally out of control over. Like you have complete control when you're under hypnosis. The client's always in control. And so when you learn how to really work and speak to the unconscious mind to your clients, you can shift them at an identity level so fast that they might not even believe it. They might not even feel like anything happened. And then, they come back to their next session and they're like, whoa, you won't even believe what happened in my life this week. And you're like, interesting. Cool. And they might not even have seemed like they had a huge shift on the call with you. But when they come back, they're going to tell you all the things that changed in their life. Because when we can change the way that we see the world, we're changing our reality. And this is why NLP is like one of the most powerful tools that I use to manifest, because I know that whatever is coming in at me, I'm only consciously aware of 126 bits of that information. So if I can change my perspective to see a different 126 bits of information out of that 2.3 million bits of information, I'm going to see something in a different way. And as I see it in a different way, that's going to change what I believe about myself. That's going to change my belief about who I think I am. And that's going to change the internal picture in my mind. And so if I change the internal picture in my mind, I'm then creating a different state of being, which is creating a different set of behaviors, which is creating a different physiology, which is creating a different result. It's really, really simple, but it's also really, really powerful. And there's a lot to learn in this body of work. So with that, it's also important to know how the unconscious mind works. Okay. And I do have a very, very early podcast episode on this. It's like understanding the unconscious mind in 29 minutes, but I'm going to just do a quick recap here. Like the prime directives of the unconscious mind, like the main jobs of the unconscious mind are to preserve your body. They're to keep you safe. So of course, your unconscious mind is going to try to maintain all perceptions of reality. That's one of its jobs. And it does that to protect you. So your unconscious mind is to preserve the body. It runs the body, right? It stores all of your memories. It's the domain of all of your emotions. It organizes all of your memories, like on a gestalt on a timeline, which we do a lot of timeline work in NLP, which is a totally different thing, which I'll tell you about. And it represses memories with unresolved negative emotions. So the unconscious mind represses memories with unresolved negative emotions for protection. But guess what happens? It also then is smart enough to present those repressed memories for resolution to release emotions. And I was just talking to my friend about this, and we were both like, whoa, pregnancy really brought up so much for us, because we were like, oh my God, so much has been presented to us of like these, things that we want to release. It's just so interesting how the unconscious mind brings things up to release. The unconscious mind is also extremely symbolic. So in NLP, we teach our students how to work with metaphors, right? How to create metaphors, build metaphors, and use them as therapy for your clients, like therapeutic metaphors for your clients to help them in your client sessions. And metaphors are just so powerful because the mind loves stories. The mind loves pictures and sounds and feelings. And so that's why metaphors are so powerful. Like think about media, right? Media is so powerful because it's showing us pictures and it's speaking in sounds and it's giving us feelings. And so that's why like we're so programmable, right? Because our mind is metaphoric. It really does respond to stories and think about when you hear somebody else's story, what it provokes in you and the emotion that's there. The unconscious mind also takes everything personally. And as it's taking everything personally, that's a good opportunity to bring in this idea that the unconscious mind works on the basis of perception is projection. It's like what our perception is what we're projecting out into the world. It's what we're seeing. It's how we're seeing the world. And so again, back to manifestation, number one, if we cannot take everything personally, if we can consciously decide that we don't have to take it personally, but understand that our unconscious mind does take it personally, we can then also rewire the perception of our reality that's being projected out into the world. And know that like we're projecting our own filters onto the screen of the world. So not only is the world coming in at us through our senses, we're then projecting it back out. It's really trippy. And the unconscious mind works on the path of least resistance. So whatever we're programmed with from a very young age or generationally, that is the train track the unconscious mind is on. And the unconscious mind, it really does, it likes clear directions. And so it will just go in the direction that you have the least resistance of. So if you have the least resistance of believing in lack, then that's where you're headed. If you have the least resistance in believing that you're meant to be alone, that's where you're headed. Think about it. Whatever you have like the least resistance around, that's the train track that your unconscious mind is on. It's really wild. And it also doesn't process negatives. So if you're saying, like I always say to my students, remember to X, Y, and Z, right? I don't say don't forget, because all the unconscious mind hears is forget, because it doesn't process the word don't. So if I tell you don't think of a blue tree, you have to think of a blue tree, because that's all the unconscious mind hears. It doesn't hear don't, right? It's also a super highly moral part of you. And it functions best as a whole integrated unit. And there is a process in NLP called parts integration. So, when you hear someone say, or when you say, a part of me feels this way and a part of me feels that way, that causes some, disruption in the subconscious, because it wants to work on the path of least resistance. It wants to serve you, and it has a hard time serving you because there's two parts of you that want different things. And so there is a tool that we teach inside of NLP called parts integration, where we literally can integrate those parts. And when we have integrated parts, that's when our subconscious can work optimally for us instead of against us. So a lot of the tools that are in NLP help us to reprogram the subconscious to help us move forward instead of keep us stuck or stagnant or small, because the unconscious mind is solely working with what it's been programmed to do, right? It's only working on the programs that we've been set up with throughout our whole life, and even from the womb and beyond that. And so one of the tools that we teach and certify in is time technique, which is it's one of the most powerful tools. And basically, it takes the subconscious mind on the timeline, which is the gestalt, as I mentioned earlier. And it takes us on the timeline to these significant emotional events, and it allows us to release anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and beyond on the timeline, at the subconscious level, without having to re-experience the events, and release it for good. And it drops that pearl on the timeline of that significant emotional event, and it applies the learning to all the other events so that it can heal. And you can also do time technique with limiting decisions, right? The decision that we're not good enough, the decision that we're not worthy enough, the decision that you're not lovable enough, that you're not important enough, whatever the decision was that you or your client made, you can also do time technique on. And it is, oh my God, it's so powerful. It's so, so powerful for releasing at the subconscious level and rewiring. And other things you can do with time technique are you can put goals into the future. There's like a different visualization technique that we teach in NLP that's even more potent than anything you've ever learned. And there's also ways that you can get over anxiety, like situational anxiety, with working on the time technique as well, working on the timeline. So the thing about the time technique is that everything that we learn in NLP, all the foundations of NLP, all the the legwork that you learn along the way, it allows you all the tools that you need to facilitate that. That's how the hypnotherapy works too, because you need everything that we learn up until we do the hypnotherapy in order to be able to facilitate it. So NLP and everything we teach inside of QCA, it builds on each other. It builds all these techniques you need in order to do the next technique. And they're so powerful. But I hope that gives you like a really good understanding of what neuro-linguistic programming is and how it works with the subconscious mind, and a little bit about the subconscious mind, so you're aware of how it works and how powerful it is and how much it truly wants to serve us, and how it is possible to really have such a profound shift at the identity level, where there is not just change that happens one time, but change that lasts, right? This is about creating lasting change and transformation with your clients. And I think it's so, so important. And I'm super, super honored to be a trainer of an NLP. And we're super honored to be with the Board of Neuro-Energetics that's accredited our program, and to align with a board that does this work. It's really, really, really beautiful, powerful stuff. So that is it. And I got that done under 30 minutes. What? That's amazing. If you have questions about NLP, definitely reach out. But also come to Big Coach Energy Live. Big Coach Energy Live is happening. It is our 4-day free training that is going to help you become an even more potent, powerful coach. If you are brand new at coaching, if you're thinking about it, if you have that little inkling in your mind, just join us. It's totally free. It's happening. It's starting today. It's starting today, the 17th. And it's the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. And we're going to meet at 12 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to train for an hour each day. And it is something that you are going to want to be there. So the link is in the show notes to enroll. It's also in my Instagram bio at thequantum.coach to enroll. You're going to want to enroll because there are giveaways, there are bonuses, there's things that you are going to want to be a part of. So please be a part of it. Come join our community. It's such a beautiful community. I obviously am obsessed with it. And I can't wait to meet you and see you there. It's going to be freaking amazing. And I'll see you at 12 o'clock. And if you're listening to this after 12 o'clock, there will be replays, and we're emailing out the replays. So that's why you also want to be registered so that you can have easy access to those replays. All right. I'll see you at Big Coach Energy Live. Thanks for listening. As always, have an amazing day. And if this podcast has impacted you in any shape, way, or form, please leave us a review. It always helps us grow and expand our reach, and it would mean the world to me. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'll see you at Big Coach Energy Live. Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fan. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at ManifestWithAsh. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.